So today, the two big vocabulary words that we're going to focus on are mode and range. So by the end of today, you need to be able to tell me what the mode and the range are for a set of data. The first word that we're going to put in for vocabulary is mode. And this is the value that occurs most frequently in a data set. So the value that occurs most frequently in a data set. So when you get all of your data together, it's the one that occurs most frequently. We talked about this a little bit yesterday with our line plot. It was the tallest value. The next vocabulary we're going to look at is range. And this is the difference between the maximum and minimum values. So the difference between the maximum and minimum values. Difference between the maximum and minimum values. Okay. Below, we have a picture of Pokemon around town. And keep in mind, this was some data that was collected at the very beginning. Because I know those of you who are out catching them all are at like, there's someone earlier than like 300, something crazy. That's awesome. So let's look a little bit at our data. We can see that we have a gap right here in our data. If we're just describing the shape of the data, we can see that we have a cluster, like a place where kind of all of the data is together, kind of bunched together in our data. And let's find some of those vocabulary words that we were thinking about. So the first one is maximum. That's the greatest piece of data, the greatest number here. So right here, it is 10. There is one person that has caught 10 Pokemon. Just talking about this a little more. 2 people have caught 9. 0 have caught 8 and 7. 4 have caught 6. 5 have caught 1. Oh, sorry, 1 have caught 5. 3 have caught 4. 6 have caught 3, and 3 have caught 2. So this on the bottom is the number of Pokemon catches, and then these balls are showing the frequency, or how many times that has happened. Okay. Now the minimum on our data set is 2. Now don't be tricked. Even though we have a 0 here, that is not the minimum value. Okay? The minimum place where we have a piece of data is on 2. Turn to your partner, and I want you to identify the mode, or the data, the piece of data that we see happens most often. What is the mode? Right. I heard a lot of you say 3. You are totally correct. We have 3. Right? Look right here, 3 we see happen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's also our tallest, which is a really great way to easily identify it. Wait, so, yeah. So a mode is the tallest? If you organize it in a line plot, yes. Okay. Now you can also have 2 modes, so just, or in a bar graph too, yeah. You can have 2 modes. We only have 1 here, but it is possible. All right, when we find our range, it is the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. Our maximum is 10. Our minimum is 2. So our range is 8. I want you to actually put this whole equation in your notes so you know how to find it. And the range tells us how spread out our data is. So our data is spread out. If our number was smaller, that would let us know that our data is closer together. If our range was larger, it would let us know that it is more spread out. All right. Please open up to Investigation 1.3 on page 16. All right. Our objectives today are to start looking at measures of central tendency, so how we can describe like a center, and how we can describe how things are spread out. So specifically, by the end of today, you should be able to compute both the mode and the range and say what that actually means. All right, we're going to watch a short video, kind of a fun video. Can we grab the lights for us? And this video is going to help us understand mode and range and shape of data.
Sean, can I show you my project? I want to run it by you before I present it to the class.
Sure. What's it about?
I was supposed to find out how many texts my friends typically send each day. I figured I'd base it on the number of texts my friends sent yesterday.
Tell me about your set of data.
This line plot shows the responses of 15 of my friends.
Some of the values are really different. There's a minimum of 8.
And a maximum of 43.
3 people typically send 28 texts per day. And 3 people typically send 20 texts per day. Those are the most frequent values.
It's funny, the data aren't evenly distributed. There are big gaps with no data on the line plot.
If there were more data, those gaps might fill in. Or they might not. Look at how the data cluster in certain spots.
I noticed that too.
Have you identified which data value is the middle value?
The value in the middle of the data, it's 22.
This is really good, Nick. You found a lot of things to report. Did your project turn out the way you wanted?
I'm not sure. My project was supposed to explain what's typical. How do I decide what's typical?
All right. So we're going to investigate the question of what is typical for the next couple of days. But for now, let's open up to page 13. And if you guys will follow along with me, can we grab the lights again? Problem 1.1 asks you to describe a typical name length or name lengths for the U.S. class and for the Chinese class. One way to describe what is typical is to identify the data value that occurs most frequently. This is the mode of the data set. A data set may have more than one mode. Look back at the graphs you made in problem 1.1. Okay? So we could talk about the mode. Remember, yesterday we looked at the tallest piece of data for our mode. In any data set, data values vary from a minimum value to a maximum value. The difference of the maximum data value and the minimum data value is the range of the data. Okay, and range talks about how spread out it is. So we are going to investigate a new set of names today. And we've investigated, I think, US names, and we've investigated Chinese names and Korean names, and today we're going to look at some Japanese names. So coming around right now is a name length table for you. Okay. So I want you to check it out for just a minute. Look at the title, look at the data values. So if you guys will compare your line plots to this one up here, as I was going around, I would tell you guys we're working very hard to be precise and to accurately display your data, which is fantastic. So let's look at this, and I'm going to use the couple sticks to help me today. I'm going to start with question number 2 that says, look at the shape of the distribution. Lawson, you did a gorgeous job of annotating your work. Did you notice any clusters in your data?
Yes,
Where is it kind of clustered around?
all the 7 to 14.
Yeah, we kind of have this cluster from 7 to 14. Nice job. Do you want to answer the question about gaps? Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I was going to say it's not like the regular graphs, like 8, 10.
So they count by twos. That's important to notice. Thanks for bringing that up. Cam, did you notice any gaps in the distribution?
No,
No. How come?
because that data is in a cluster, so there's no room for a gap because on either side it's just nothing.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have a piece of data everywhere from 7 to 14. All right, what is the mode of our data? Remember that that's the data piece that appears most often. Kayla, did you find the mode? Oh, Kareem was even up too.
12,
12. How come 12 is the mode?
because it's the most common letters for Japanese names.
Yeah, we see it happen most frequently. Now, number 2 says, is the mode a good description of the typical name length? So this is an opinion question, and what I'm looking for you to do is to be able to support this. So if we said, yeah, the typical Japanese name is 12 letters, would you feel like that would be accurate, or it would not be accurate? And tell me why. So let's start with Ryan. Do you feel like 12 is a good typical name length? Do you think the mode represents the data?
Yes.
How come?
Because there's more 12
Sure. So you said there's more 12s than any other number. Katie, do you feel like 12, like the mode in this case, is a good representation of all the data? How come?
because it's the one that has the most, the names are usually 12, the other ones are slower.
You are also looking at most frequent. Cool. Some people might also talk about it's toward the center of our data too, and that might be another important thing that we're going to talk about more tomorrow. All right, our next question is range. I want to first of all know how you found the range of your data. Julian, can you tell us how you found the range?
I didn't get to that.
Okay. JJ, did you get the range?
Not yet.
Ellis, did you get the range?
Yes, the range is 7.
Okay, tell us how you got that.
I got the range by subtracting 14 by 7. The highest number with data on it would go by the lowest number with data on it, and if you subtract that, you get 7 because 7 plus 7 is 14.
I like you said the highest number with data on it and the lowest number with data on it. Yeah, because look, we have some things, we have like 15 through 18 that don't have any data, and 0 through 6, but those are just part of our number line. All right, so let's look at one more. Do you guys have any questions about the mode and the range there? Okay, so what I'd like to look at a little bit now is to compare some of our pieces of data from earlier. So I have the Chinese names, the US names, and the Japanese names, okay? And what I would like you to do with your tribe right now is to compare all 3 sets of data. Okay, what do you notice about the modes? What do you notice about how they're distributed? You can do that right